Have you ever woken up with a brilliant, life-changing idea, just buzzing with potential, only to find yourself hours later endlessly scrolling on your phone, promising you'll really start tomorrow? If you're someone who is full of ambition but feels completely stuck in a cycle of doing nothing, this is for you. We're going to break down the frustrating psychology behind this whole pattern and, more importantly, map out a real path forward. So let's get into it. Yeah, this feeling, it's at the very heart of the entire struggle, isn't it? The vision in your head is so crystal clear, it feels almost real. But that gap between the dream and, actually sitting down at your desk, it can feel like a massive canyon. You are definitely not alone in this feeling of being paralyzed right when it matters the most. So what is this? Is it a character flaw? Just a total lack of willpower? Well, the answer is a hard no. Let me be clear. This isn't about you being a bad or lazy person. This is about deep-seated psychological patterns happening inside your brain. And understanding them, that's the absolute first step to changing them. Okay, first up, the ambitious but lazy paradox. We need to get real about what this actually looks like day in and day out. It's this painful loop of setting huge goals, getting sidetracked, and then, of course, beating yourself up for it. It's a pattern, and just recognizing it is key. Sound familiar? This cycle is so universal. It starts with that rush of motivation. Today's the day. But that feeling, it's so fleeting. The phone buzzes, a video autoplays, and boom, suddenly it's 4 p.m. Promising yourself you'll do it tomorrow feels like a little relief at the moment, but that's short-lived, right? Because the night always brings that familiar sinking wave of guilt and regret. And this is the most frustrating part of it all. It's not because you lack talent or intelligence. You know you have what it takes. The ideas are there, the ability is there. It's that activation energy that just seems impossible to find. It honestly feels like there's an invisible wall standing between you and your own potential. So that leads us right into our next section, your brain's inner conflict. This isn't just you being difficult with yourself. There is a genuine battle taking place inside your head every single day. Let's break down the two sides of this fight. Think of your brain as being split into two competing teams. On one side, you've got the ambitious brain. It's the CEO, the visionary, the part of you that sets these huge, exciting goals. But then you have the comfort brain. Think of it like a security guard whose only job is to avoid pain, avoid effort, and definitely avoid the risk of failure. And right now, that security guard is winning. Not because you're weak, but because it is literally wired to choose immediate safety over long-term growth. And here's the real kicker. Your brain interprets hard work as a danger. So to protect you, it offers an easy escape, like scrolling or watching a video, and then it rewards you with a little hit of dopamine for choosing comfort. This creates this powerful addiction to avoidance. It's not laziness, it's a misguided survival instinct. Okay, now for section 3, the hidden traps we face. Because on top of this biological wiring, we build these really sophisticated mental traps to justify why we're not doing anything. These are the excuses that sound so logical for why we can't possibly start right now. Perfectionism, the classic. It sounds like such a good thing, right? Like you just have high standards. But in reality, it is one of the most effective forms of self-sabotage there is. You tell yourself you're just waiting for the perfect plan or the ideal conditions. But you know what? Perfect never shows up. And this quote just nails it. Perfectionism isn't a badge of honor. It's a mask. It's the fear of not being good enough wearing a fancy costume called excellence. It's your brain's super clever excuse to never even start because, hey, if you never start, you can never fail. And that brings us right to the core of it all. This deep-seated fear that if you give it your all and it still doesn't work out, it'll just confirm all your worst insecurities about yourself. It feels so much safer to live in the fantasy of what if than to risk the reality of what is. This is such a critical mindset shift. We're all taught to be terrified of failure, but failure is where all the learning happens. The true enemy, the actual opposite of success, is doing nothing at all. I promise you, every successful person you admire has failed way more times than you've even tried. Okay, so we've diagnosed the problem, we get the brain conflict, we see the mental traps. Now for the good part. Section 4, from dreaming to doing. Let's shift gears and get into the practical tools that actually build momentum. First things first, we have to throw out a huge myth. You do not need more motivation. Motivation is an emotion, it's a feeling, just like happiness or sadness. It's totally fickle. Waiting around to feel motivated before you act is like waiting for a lightning strike to power your house. It's not a reliable strategy. What you need to focus on instead is discipline. And listen, discipline isn't some magical personality trait you're either born with or you're not. It is a skill, it's a muscle. And just like any muscle, it starts out weak, but it gets stronger every single time you use it, especially when you don't feel like it. So how do you build this muscle? It's deceptively simple. Don't try to overhaul your entire life overnight. That's just your perfectionism talking again. Pick one absurdly small action. I'm talking tiny. Write for 5 minutes. Make one phone call. The goal here isn't to be amazing, it's just to be consistent, because consistency builds habits, and habits are what build lives. And here is a total game changer. Stop trying to rely on willpower. It's a finite resource. It runs out. Instead, become an architect of your environment. Seriously, put your phone in another room, clean off your desk, turn off all those notifications. Design your space so that the path of least resistance leads you towards your goals, not away from them. And that brings us to our final, and maybe the most important section, start now, not someday. We have to pair all this new action with a radically different mindset, and that is self-compassion. You need to accept this truth right now. You are going to mess up. You will have days where you fall right back into old patterns. That is not a sign of failure. It is a sign that you are a human being. The secret isn't to never fall down. It's to not let one bad day spiral into a bad week. Just look at this contrast. The cycle of guilt and shame, that just digs you deeper into the hole. It drains all your energy. Self-compassion, that's the fuel that gives you the strength to get back up and try again tomorrow. You have to start talking yourself like you would a good friend. Look, you've watched the videos, you've read the articles, you already know what you need to do. Consuming more and more content can feel like you're making progress, but a lot of the time, it's just another clever form of procrastination. The time for learning is over. The time for doing is right now. Please let this one sink in. You have to separate your identity from your actions. Lazy is not who you are. It is a behavior pattern that you've fallen into. And the beautiful thing about patterns is that because they are learned, they can be unlearned. You are not broken. You are simply stuck, and you hold the key to get unstuck. So I'll leave you with this one question. Forget about tomorrow. Forget about the 5-year plan. What is the one tiny, almost insignificant step you can take in the next 10 minutes to move yourself forward? Don't just think about it. Close this and go do it. That's how this whole thing starts.